What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone for another preview slash news update because a lot of things happened today. A lot of things happened today. Injuries, Allegri's pressers, Canavino spoke, capital increases, Pogba, you name it. So we'll go over everything before we get to actually tomorrow and the game, which is a very important game ahead of the international break because it's a must-win game. Obviously, like every game is a must-win game, but heading into the international break with I won't say like not the past couple of weeks, in my opinion, is something to look at, keep an eye on, because I'm looking at how we're gonna come back from the international break. I think that's more. I think that's very key for me because you need to have a good performance tomorrow because when you come back you have Milan, and you cannot leave because everybody got selected. Even Gatti got selected today, and why shouldn't he? Because apparently he's better than the league. But even Gatti got called up. I think Keane got called up, Locatelli. So Vlahovic out, Chiesa, who knows? So not winning tomorrow with a good performance and then coming back and have 2-3 days to prep for Milan is not what we need. So we need a key performance tomorrow, like a clean one. Obviously, it needs to be a win, but it also needs to be kind of dominant. It cannot be like I don't think a scrappy win will do tomorrow. We need to have a very good performance. Otherwise, I think we will have an issue when we come back from international break. But before we get into the actual preview, let's start with the news updates because I didn't have time to do it daily. It started for Pogba. He's done. Like Pogba is done at the club. I think that's very obvious now. So the second test came back and it was positive. So now he has, I'm gonna lie, was it 72 hours to prep his case, and file is whatever is reported, and then within I don't know 3 days or I forgot. They are gonna question him, and depending on the questioning, they will make up their mind. So he can be suspended from 1 to 4 years, basically. The point is he's done at the club. I think that's very obvious. I think Giuntoli made that obvious 3 weeks ago. Scaravino made that very, very, very clear today, saying it's sad. It's a sad situation whatsoever, but we're just waiting on seeing what Pogba and his management are gonna do, and then they will react. I think it's very obvious they are gonna terminate this contract, and I think they're just waiting on the outcome. Is it a suspension for 2 years, or is it 3 years? Then the club can go. You know what? That's not on us. He's suspended for 2 years. He has a 2-year contract. He cannot play. We're not paying him. So I think they can legally kind of terminate his contract, whatever. I think it's just waiting on them. But Pogba, he's done at the club, and it's extremely sad. It's the worst transfer we've ever done. People are saying Felipe Melo and whatsoever. Nah, this is crazy. Because when he came back, I said it. I said I don't bring players back. Don't do it. I'm not a big fan of it. We moved on. Move on. That's what I've always said. He came back, injury preseason. Then the whole debacle of, is he gonna get surgery? Is he not? A long time out. Comes back, muscle this, muscle injury that. It was already a complete farce. And then even this season, when he finally looked to go the better way, in the right direction, and he could actually play games and whatsoever, this news comes out, and you're like, wow, this is, even for this club in the last couple of years, this is insane. So it's sad. It's a big flop. Is it a big miss? No, because like the quality we're gonna miss, like the quality we're expecting to get, that's a miss because that hole is still not filled at this point. That's a miss because the quality is still not there, and the quality should have been there for 1.5 seasons now. That's the miss still, but it's not that we're gonna miss Pogba because he was never there. Yildiz will probably have more minutes after tomorrow than Pogba ever since he came back, and that's insane. But that's what the situation is. So we need to move on. He's done. We just need to wait on the proceeding now. How long is he gonna get suspended, and how will the club react to it? Are they gonna say, you know what? It's I think personally, I think he will be suspended for a year. I don't think you. I will be shocked if he will get the max. I will be absolutely shocked. I think it will be something like a year, and I think they will find a solution to just terminate the contract and whatever. It's sad. But at the end of the day, um, we need to wait on his defense case. But I think we can all suggest like he knew what was gonna happen when he took those things. So it's done, and it's sad because why it's sad. Like if Pogba never played for us, it would be less sad for me personally. But because he played for us, and I knew, and I think we all know. Sorry, we all know what a player he was for us. If you just look back, ever since he left, besides him winning the World Cup and playing well in that World Cup for France, wow, what could have been? Him joining Man U. To this day, I can still not believe he left us to join Man U. I don't know who we know who advised him at the time, but like, wow, like you were at the top of your game. You could have played for every single team on planet Earth. You can just walk in that lineup, and he chose Man U for crazy reasons. We can say childhood club whatsoever. Like that club was in a complete mess, and not one person on planet Earth as well, not even Man U fans, believed they were one Pogba away from winning at that club with that owner. So he kind of did it to himself. But it's done. I will never forget what he did for us in that 4-year span, because it was unbelievable. It was like, for me, he is probably the most talented player, like natural talented player I've seen with my own eyes at the club. I'm pretty sure about that. Like, I don't want to include Buffon because that's a bit different goalkeeping. Like, just pure individual brilliance, unbelievable in those 4 years with us, and he was one of the best players, one of the best midfielders on the planet, basically. And it was fun. It was amazing to watch. It was excited, but this ending is just extremely sad. Like, I have no other way to put it than this. It's sad, but it's done. We just need to wait on like the suspension at this point, and then how the club will proceed with his agent to find a solution, terminate his contract, whatever, and move on, keep it moving. But again, we're not gonna miss him personally, because he was never there. What we're gonna miss is the quality that we thought we got 2 summers ago. We didn't have that quality now last year, and we're not gonna have it this year. That's what we're gonna miss still, basically, because you thought you had something in that team. You thought you filled in a position of need, just on the field, but like actually pure talent, and that's gonna raise the bar of this squad. That's gone. That's what we're gonna miss. But it's done. He's done at the club, and we just need to move on at this point. It's sad, but I think everybody accepted that the moment that news came out. I think it was very obvious and very clear what the situation was going to be. So yeah, that's the Pogba part. Before I move on, Jeremy's saying, let's move on. We have been through a lot as a club. Yeah, but we still need to discuss it. Like, it's still happening at the club. So we still need to discuss that. We can move on now, and probably we will talk about it when we terminate this contract. But it's happening at the club, so we need to address it. Now let's move on to what happened a couple of hours ago. I'm gonna put it in a nutshell and not so technical. The club, actually the family, X or whatever. So not technical. They approved that the club can have a capital increase of a max of 200 million euros, basically, to proceed, operations and whatever and all those things. And from the statement, it seemed like it's pure for costs, and making up for not getting the Champions League football, all those things, and it is. But Scanavino, which I do like, went into detail. He talked to Sky Sport. I think previous ownership or like ownership management didn't go into details. So fans were, where there was a capital increase whatsoever, fans were looking and more like, what does it mean? Doesn't mean anything for us as a club, on the pitch basically, or it's just operational cost. So Scanavino was very open, which I do like, and it gave you insight. So first thing he said these significant resources need to be integrated into a sustainability and competitiveness project. The future will witness a mix of experienced players alongside young talents emerging from the next gen, or those who will, we will identify in the market through a precise scouting project. So, in other words, he said the money, the capital increase, is not just to cover the loss of the Champions League, which it is because he mentioned it. I didn't put it in. Operational costs, all those things. But he's saying it is also to boost signings. Not the entire 200 million, but I think for the first time I've heard a management member say, the capital increase is actually also to improve the team, basically. So he's being very honest with it. I think the outline of the project is obvious as well, and if we go into the lineup and all those things, you will probably, if you were sleeping under a rock, you will understand why. But that's very clear. I think that's the way to go, especially now when you have a crop of interesting youngsters in the team and potentially coming through. I think this is the moment to push. What I've always said, we are missing experience, but experience with quality. We have some experience in the team, but it's not top-notch quality, in my opinion. You can have experience, but it needs to be quality as well, That's my issue with Danilo. He has experience, but I don't look like Danilo. I'm like, wow. Somebody told me today, De Ligt is not better than Danilo, Alexandro, Gatti, and somebody else at the back. And that's just a straight up lie. That's basically, talking good about the club and refusing to admit it's not great, because there's no sane person who actually believes De Ligt is worse than what we have at the back, There's absolutely no chance. It's insane. And I think it's just to wind up. I don't think anyone believes that. And if somebody believes that, that's just, wow, you actually do not rate this club whatsoever. You actually kind of hate this club and are praying for the downfall, because that's just insane. That's insane, but that's happening, so we need experience. I get it, but it also needs to have quality. It needs to be linked to quality. It cannot just be, he played for this team, and then you look it up and he was a bench player or a rotation player and all those things. That cannot be the case. It needs to add quality to the team as well. So let's see how that will develop in the future. But Scanavino was very open and very clear about that, which I actually I do like. Now, he also said another thing, which is also important in my opinion. He said, we are aligned with Allegri and Giuntoli on Juve's ambitions, which are returning to winning as soon as possible. The right approach is to proceed step by step with our feet firmly on the ground. Qualifying for the Champions League is crucial from an economic perspective, especially since next season edition will feature more matches and high revenue. So next year Champions League is different. I'm gonna lie. I think it's 8 games you play, 100%, but you play 8 different teams. So you don't play PSG home and away. You play PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Arsenal away, and at home you play Dortmund, I don't know, Atletico Madrid, Newcastle, and I don't know, Marseille. I'm just saying something. So next season is gonna be completely different. You need to be extremely bad to not make it out of that group. You need to be extremely bad at it. And then if you don't make the top 4 or whatever, you still have one playoff game. That's home and away. I think like it's more games, it's more money basically. It's different. Am I a fan of it? No, I like the Super League idea more, that you play home and away throughout that. I think that's more fair. This is crazy a bit, but there is more money to it. That's what it is. That's what the sport is all about at this moment in time. So getting into that Champions League is a must. Like it's an absolute must for 1,000 reasons. Keeping players, signing players, all these things. Experience for some of these players, excuse me, is also key. It's all fun and games playing in Serie A and needed, but I think you will learn even more if you play against the best of the best. You will learn the hard way or the easy way, depending on how good you are. And I think that will tell you and us more of, okay, these youngsters are actually gonna be an upgrade, and these guys, they're not gonna be an upgrade whatsoever. But that's on the capital Greece. I like that Scandavino was very clear and very transparent with what's happening at the club, because usually we're kind of in the dark here. But let's see. Scouting. That's why you got Giuntoli. I think that's also one of those things. They got Giuntoli for that reason. Set out a project and identify the right people, players, coaches, whatever, managers, to help you build that new project. That it's gonna take time, but like Locatelli said, this needs time. But this is Juve. We do not have time. We need to win every single year, and that's basically why Allegri is here, to do more with a lesser squad and keep us competitive and try to win some stuff here and there to get these guys up and ready and then compete. But that's what it's not really happening at this moment in time. That's why my issue with this is with the entire situation, basically. But let's see how that will go as well. Before we go into actually the preview, let me read out a few things. Are you going to talk about the Cristiano case? No, I'm not going to waste any time on that. The club say they don't need to pay him money. Cristiano did. There's no paper. They need to figure it out. Our captain should nothing more than a squad player. He isn't good enough to be a regular starter. Well, I agree. Okay, let's move on to the game preview. Allegri spoke. Who's going to build the project with Allegri's contract running out? He still has 1 year, so let's see. Allegri spoke before the game because we do play tomorrow. We play the derby, and I hadn't. I needed to laugh at certain things he said. I agree with one thing he said, and what I've always been saying, and what Allegri apologists are not trying to debate, but you have Allegri actually, telling the Allegri fans, whatever, to say, you guys are wrong, and we are right at this point. So he spoke. Let's get it out of the way, because it's going to be key in what he said. Chiesa and Vlahovic are out. They're not going to play tomorrow. We knew Vlahovic, but Chiesa came out of the blue, basically. He's not going to be there. And that is an extremely big loss, because we are heavily focused on Chiesa to get it done. Even though the last 2 games is not really working, that's who we are as a team. So it's going to be extremely interesting / frustrating tomorrow. I'm pretty sure about that, depending on the lineup, and we will get into it. But it could be an extremely frustrating game tomorrow, because we lack individual brilliance, guys who can take on a player and all those things. So let's see how that game will go. I think it's key to be extremely compact tomorrow and wait for those one moments, because I don't think we have enough to actually overrun crazy, then I'm going to say it, Torino. He said we're facing a challenging Torino, a determined team led by Juric, who's an excellent coach. His results and the development of his players speak for him. There won't be any changes in our formation. No need to overhaul things. The crucial thing will be to deliver a good performance. That's what I said. It needs to be an extremely clean performance, mistake-free. You cannot give away stupid things and all those things, because that's going to cost you. It is going to cost you tomorrow. I don't think we have enough firepower up top, individual brilliance whatsoever, to turn certain situations around tomorrow. I think he's right. I think Torino will be up for it. Why wouldn't they? It's a derby. They haven't won a derby away from home. So at Juve since 1995, since the year was born, that was the last time when Torino won a derby, not in their stadium. That's crazy. That's 28 years. That's insane. I don't want to jinx it, but it's a stat. And I think if they're gonna win one, the good time is tomorrow because I don't think there's a lot of confidence in that group. They can claim they are. They don't play that. They don't play like that with confidence. And you're missing two big time players, and we rely heavily on those big time players like Chiesa and Vlahovic. I think they have like 80% of our goals this season with assists and goals. So that's an extremely big miss. So if they're gonna do it once for the first time in 28 years, I think tomorrow is the ideal situation for them, the ideal day. Then he said our journey will conclude on May 26th. The important thing is to stay in the top four and in the meantime improve in every aspect, reaching maturity to face big challenges differently. Settling for a draw, we didn't settle for it at Bergamo either, but we couldn't be effective in offensive phase. Well, that's a big fat lie. I think that's an extremely big time lie because thanks, Anthony. We need to link up. I will reach out to you if we can during the international break to talk about what's actually been happening for both of our teams or Serie A in general up to this point, basically. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you are having a nice evening or morning over there, midday. But that last part from Allegri is a big fat lie because players have come out saying, like Chesney literally said, we need to accept draws. Away to Sassuolo, away to Torino. So what Allegri is saying is a big fat lie. I think he saw what fans and whatever were kind of talking about during the week. They were like, it was unacceptable what certain players and he himself had to say after Atalanta. It wasn't acceptable because at the end of the day, this is one of the biggest clubs in the world. You cannot come out and say at some games you need to settle for a draw, and then when you think back and you're like, these guys are talking about games against Sassuolo and Atalanta, not Napoli away, not Real Madrid at the Bernabeu away. They're talking about Sassuolo and Atalanta. That's just unacceptable. So when he says settling for a draw, we never do that. They did at Bergamo. We couldn't be effective in the offensive phase. That's on you. It's year 3, and we are waiting for Chiesa to do some random, stuff and make it happen. That's on you. That's absolutely on you. I remember Giuntoli spoke this week as well, saying we've seen certain things like the Lazio game, like the Udinese game, and we're trying new things, but it needs time. I get it needs time, but you cannot have 45 minutes, then 2 games of nothing, then 90 minutes, and then 3 games of nothing. Like that's crazy. No, that's crazy. Like if you're building something, you need to see it every single game. Even if it's in moments, but you cannot have moments in one game and then have none of those moments in 2 games straight. Like then something is really wrong. Something is not working. So I don't agree with him because I think we do settle for draws or we go out, to play teams with the idea of not lose here, and that's never a good thing. That's good if you're Genoa, but that's not good if you're at Juve. Like let's call it how it is. Are you going to talk about the ultras? I will. Before I go into the lineup, I was planning to do. Then he said something. Then he said something very wishful. Like there's no real facts behind it. Like he said goals because Chiesa and Vlahovic are out. I think maybe it's 80% of our goals. Could be less, could be 70, but it's a lot. He said we have Keane, Milik, Yildiz in midfield. In midfield, we have Rabiot, who's a goal scorer, Fagioli, Emiretti, who will start scoring, and the defenders who are always dangerous on set pieces. Fagioli, Emiretti, like that's wishful thinking. Like there are no signs that they're going to start scoring goals. So scrap that. Defenders on set pieces, yeah, but that comes and go. Like it's not a real like, what do you want to call it? It's not especially. It's not like we're Burnley and we're putting set pieces away like a trademark. That's like the Miretti and Fagioli thing is wishful thinking. The defenders one is like it happens one game and maybe the next 2 games nothing, and then again. It's not that's not how you're gonna win those games. Keane, Milik, they're not out and out born goal scorers. They will pick up their goals usually, key goals, because they don't play much, and when they play, it's probably like late and we need them and we're trying to do something. Um, but without Chiesa and Vlahovic's season, like it's factually they they are all the goals basically. So I know what he's trying to do, but like no, like we watch the games. Even if you didn't watch the game, you have the stats out there, goal scoring. It's a big loss. Like it's an extremely big loss to not have those two up top. So you need to find a solution tomorrow. That's why I said keep it clean and take those few chances you're gonna get. Put them away. You need to put them away. There's no room to start missing chances tomorrow. Absolutely no. None. Excuse me. And now, spoiler, I do agree with Allegri on this one. Because I've like the moment Chiesa got injured, I said I don't want to hear any excuses because we look poorly even with Chiesa on that pitch. So I don't want him or any people to give him that as an excuse. It's year 3, injuries happen. Come on, you need to have a solution. Also, when Chiesa's out there the last couple of games, we don't look good as a team. So whatever. He said, regardless of who's absent or present tomorrow, we play the Zerbi with great enthusiasm and determination. We will need to deliver a better performance than the one in Bergamo, especially from a technical standpoint of view. Besides the technical standpoint of view, it needs to be aggressive. There needs to be a willingness to win that game. That was missing at Bergamo. Obviously the technical stuff wasn't good. In possession, we were not good, but there was no passion, or like there was no aggression. There was no intention to actually win that game. That was missing. You can make up a lot with that in terms of what you lack in technical abilities. It does. Like it 100% does. Now, what also will help tomorrow is the fans are back. So the club finally picked himself up and realized you cannot put 11 players in your home stadium and it feels like they're playing on the street with nobody watching. When you were a kid and you played on the street ball, it was quiet. It was just you and your buddies, and that's it. That's how we play at the stadium. Like you can actually hear people talk to each other. That's how bad the situation is. Somehow, finally, the club sat down with, let's call it the police, to get this over with. Because we're the only stadium in Italy where nothing is allowed. And we're the only club where the club was not actively trying to resolve the situation. I don't know what changed, but they resolved it. So everything is back allowed into the stadium, and it will be a boost. Will it be the reason we win tomorrow? Who knows? But throughout the season, that will be a boost because I will sit home, and I will watch a game, and at halftime I will tweet out or say this is extremely bad, embarrassing. If I'm at a stadium, I will think that. I'm not gonna boo them at halftime because that's not gonna help me. That's not gonna help the players at all. Like it's just gonna help absolutely nobody. I think it's weird behavior. I'm not gonna lie, to do that even 20 minutes in booing because that happened at the stadium. I think it's weird. It's disgusting, and it's just a toxic situation. That's why I want, quote unquote, those people back at the stadium because they're not going to do it. We can be down 2-0 at home against Lecce. Second half kicks in. They will still be singing, trying to help that team to turn that result around. When they are not there, you will hear Locatelli misplacing a pass. It will be frustrating, but the entire stadium booing. I've never been to a stadium and booed the team because one, like I paid tickets, I'm here to support the team, and if me booing players or whatever, calling them out mid game, it's not gonna turn them into world class players during that game. It's just not gonna happen. it's not gonna happen. The one thing that could happen is you somehow turn that stadium into, I don't know, a pressure cooker, and they will feed off that, and they will go for it, and they will make up, they will cover up the technical failing abilities on that day. So that's good news. It's fantastic news, and it's key. Like, it's key that it's finally resolved. So that's good. That's something to look forward to tomorrow, 100%. Now, let's go to the lineup, which I didn't prepare fully. My bad. Let me, because I was home extremely late, and I can see now that I don't have a graphic for for Yildiz. I thought I made one. I didn't. Like, I failed. So apologies for that. That's on me. But yeah, let's go into the rumored lineup. So, as usual, it's Chesney in goal. I actually have no idea when Alexandro's back. I'm not gonna lie. I've not read anything on Alexandro. Not that I really want him to come back. I don't want him to be injured, but like, we're not missing Alexandro one bit. We're not missing him, and we're not gonna miss him whatsoever, because he's a terrible footballer at this moment in time. So that's the back line. Nothing changed. That's what it's gonna be, and that's probably what it should be until from now until the end of the season, because we don't have better players. What also is not gonna change is Locatelli and Rabiot, because they are gonna play every single week. No Miretti. It's Fagioli who's rumored to start, because Miretti is in a scrap to play as a striker / behind the striker. But, spoiler, he's not going to start. McKennie, again, the Weah situation. I don't want to do that now, but I will talk about it during the international break, because there's no game, so we cannot discuss that. But I want to have a conversation on Timothy Weah at this moment in time, because it's extremely strange. You have Scanavino talking about that's a good signing, and I was like, is it? Like, we've not seen him. So that's a weird one. I will discuss during the international break, obviously. Who else is gonna play? No Cambiaso, but also no Ealing Jr. It's gonna be Kostic, and that frustrates me like hell, because it's Keane up top, and Yildiz. Yildiz is rumored to start. I don't have a graphic for him because I was caught by surprise. So Yildiz is gonna start, Keane, but the Kostic and the McKennie one frustrates me like crazy. And not that McKennie has been playing poorly, but without Chiesa, we need that spark. We need something different to Kostic and McKennie. Those are two players. They're not going to beat their man with the ball in their feet, put in a cross, doing that, or take a shot. It's extremely rare. I hope I'm wrong, and I saw Cambiaso over here, but I turned out Sky, and they were talking about Kostic. I think it's gonna be Kostic, but it should be Ealing Jr. Like, let's be honest, Cambiaso hasn't played good the last 2 games. Kostic hasn't had any sort of impact this season. I don't know how and why Ealing Jr. is not gonna get minutes. And with minutes, I don't mean 15 minutes or 10 minutes and then even play in midfield. Like, that's not it. Like, even wingback is already disappointing, but, at least he's on the left. I think Ealing should get a chance, but for me, it's going to be Kostic. According to the latest rumors, Sky, it's going to be Kostic, because they said Cambiaso. They flipped it. I checked again at 11, and they were talking about Kostic to start over Cambiaso. But the big surprise is Yildiz. Yildiz is, I can still not believe that he's going to start Yildiz. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm still extreme. Like, I'm going to talk about it because that's a rumor. I don't, does anyone believe Yildiz is going to start tomorrow? He's going to bench Keane to play Yildiz? That's that's very unlikely to happen under Allegri, especially when he's missing Chiesa and Vlahovic. That's a big gamble. gambling from him because he's not going to play alongside Keane. I put him there. He's going to play behind Keane's, slot of midfield. But that's big. That will be his first start. That will tell the world that he's ready. He's ready to do that. I still believe he's going to play Milik or Miretti behind him. I'm also not a fan of Miretti playing there behind, because I like, come on, like, I know it's an emergency situation, excuse me, and you need to switch it up, but I don't think he's good at that. Yildiz, that's an unknown. Will he be good? Can he play there? Can he do this? We have no idea. We've seen moments, but other than that, we cannot say based on those few moments or him scoring with the under 23s, he's going to be ready 100%. He's going to do a fantastic job. We don't know. So it's a big gamble, but if he does, I think everybody will back the player, obviously, and the decision to play him there. It's a big opportunity for him. He just got selected to the first team of the Turkish national team, which is also crazy because he's playing actually Serie C football at this moment in time. So that could be a boost for him to go out there tomorrow and actually smash it. Just, ride the wave of, man, I'm living life almost, And if I take this opportunity now, get my first start for this team, play at home, play in a derby, be the difference making player, then who knows what can happen moving forward. Maybe I will be the guy who will play if Vlahovic gets a rest instead of Keane or instead of Milik or Chiesa, who knows. So it's a big opportunity for him. I will be shocked if he starts Yildiz. I actually would. Like I struggle to believe it, but if he does, it's exciting. I will tell you that. And I'm not gonna come on if it doesn't work out and be like, oh, you needed to play Milik or you need to do this. I won't, because it's not that if he plays Milik that will be sitting here and be like, oh my god, we have a better chance. Like I don't have that vibe with Milik. So let's see. But it's big. It's big. It's extremely big. Now let's move on to my ratings. What I expect these players needing to have tomorrow. And this might sound crazy because everybody knows how I rate players, and this could be 6.5 as well. But these guys, they need to be solid across the board. I can live with this against Torino. That backline we cannot give up anything tomorrow because we do not have enough firepower to make up for mistakes tomorrow. We just don't. No, I don't see it with Chiesa. I absolutely do not see it based on the last couple of games. We rely extremely heavily on him. Sassuolo, Lecce, Atalanta. If it was not for him, we had absolutely nothing in those games. Like, let's be completely honest. Yes, we won against Lecce because of a Miliko and a Rabiot, cross assist, whatever. But it's all like it all comes and goes with Chiesa. We need to have a solid game. We cannot give away anything. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't checked where Torino are in the standings. I haven't. I like going off the results whatsoever and what you see. It feels like they are having, an up and down season. Mid-table, 9 points. It's what I thought it was. Not beating Cagliari, losing to Milan, beating Genoa 1-0, away to Salernitana, that's cool. Tying Roma, losing to Lazio, tying Verona. Like, they struggle scoring goals. And that's why, like, it's kind of like us, like real firepower, but they have Zapata, who also plays well against us always. They need to be solid at the back. You cannot give up anything because we cannot make up for a lot tomorrow. We can't. We absolutely cannot. So that's my assessment of the game. My prediction. Everybody who's still in the chat, thanks for watching. I know it's a Friday evening. It's later than usual, but everybody who tuned in, thanks. Like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your prediction now. I'm going to go with, because I don't predict losses, I'm not confident. I'm not going to lie, because based on the last couple of weeks, I cannot be confident personally. I want to be extremely positive and, chest out. But I'm going to say we're going to win 1-0. And it's going to be Keane who's going to score. And I'm saying that because we need to keep a clean sheet and we need to nick it at this point, you know. And I'm going off the last couple of games. We cannot go into the international break with, I don't know, 70% of the team leaving with a bad performance and not winning. Come back and prepare for Milan. That's just not like, that's my biggest fear, because you will get smoked way to Milan. You will get smoked way to Milan. So this needs to be a good game. I still think, like Allegri said, no excuses. You need to beat Torino at home. You just need to. Even with this team, what that's out there, you need to beat Torino at home. You know, with the fans, even if it's just on an adrenaline vibe, whatever, you need to beat them. You know, and that's why I'm like, Chiesa's not there, fine, but the Kostic, Cambiasso, McKennie thing worries me, because we need that X factor. We need somebody who is energetic and actually has good feet. But let's see. Let's see how that will go. Obviously, tomorrow match reaction, not from me, but from Julian, because I'm out. You know, I'm gonna watch the game, but I'm not, you know, at the setup. I cannot record. I will record my ratings Sunday evening, just before we will do the post game live, as we usually do the breakdown. So show Julian some love tomorrow, because he's gonna do the match reaction, and I will be back on Sunday, obviously, with a video and a live show. But yeah, hopefully we win, because we need to win. Like, I don't want to go into the national break thinking, oh my god, like, wow, you know, international football and us doing that, you know, the last couple of weeks. That's just not a feeling I want to have for the next couple of weeks. But that's my preview slash news update. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Like and subscribe. I will be back on Sunday.